Have you ever had a time when you were working hard, but you weren't really improving very much? You weren't seeing the progress that you wanted to see? We've pretty much all had times where we're spinning our wheels, but not really moving. And so today I want to help you with that. I'm going to give you 6 tips that will help you to accelerate your improvement. So listen up, this is going to be big. Tip number 1 is to increase your intentionality about your improvement. The biggest impediment to improving efficiently and effectively is simply not focusing on that. A lot of times we're focusing on getting things done, but we're not focusing on improving. And we definitely can improve simply by focusing on getting things done. But when we do that, our improvement is largely left up to chance. And when we leave our improvement up to chance, it's so much less effective and we very often plateau. So we have to get intentional about improving on purpose. And we fall into the just going through the motions and forgetting about improving in so many different ways. At work, we fall into showing up and even working hard and getting a lot done, but we forget to improve. And we fall into it in situations that are designed specifically for improvement. Think about it with practices, rehearsals, trainings. There's so many times when we go into those things simply with the mindset of trying to get through it. And we forget about trying to improve. So it's so easy to forget. Focus on improvement. Be intentional about it. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is identify the necessary skills for the thing that you want to get better at. We have to have clarity on that in order to begin effective improvement. So create a map in your mind, do your research. A lot of times when we first begin improving at something, we don't really know exactly what it is that we need to do to improve. So we have to map out all of the skills required to excel in this specific area. That clarity is necessary for moving forward in a productive way. So map that out, and if you don't know what skills are necessary, that's okay. That just means it's time to do your research. So go talk to people who excel in this thing that you want to excel in, or read books or watch YouTube videos. There's information out there. Go find out what skills are necessary for success in your sport, in your work, in public speaking, in your relationships, whatever it is that you want to improve in, make sure you map out what those skills are. Okay, tip number 3 is break those skills down into simple individual parts. So every skill set that we want to develop is made up of individual skills. And those skills can be broken down further and further until they're just the smallest little increments. And a lot of times when we're looking at an entire skill set, like I want to get great at marketing, whoa, that can feel like this big elephant that you can't possibly consume. How can you eat that entire elephant? But if we start to just look at little itty-bitty individual pieces of that elephant, it becomes much more possible to handle. So break this skill set down into little itty-bitty individual skills and then focus on them one at a time. For example, if you're trying to learn how to shoot effectively in soccer, break the shot down into individual steps. Focus on the lead up, how you run up to the ball. Focus on how you plant your foot next to the ball. Focus on how you make contact with the ball, what part of your foot you're making contact to the ball with. Focus on where your eyes are. right? Break it into individual pieces. And then after you practice each part individually and you start to get the hang of it, that's when you can mesh them together and begin practicing them in a cohesive unit. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4 is evaluate your performance. This is critical. We have to evaluate our performance in order to understand how to improve, how to change, how to get better, how to tweak it. But there are some keys here that we really need to be careful with. The first is that we have to make sure that we include our successes in this evaluation. So many times when we think about evaluating our performance, we think, let's figure out what I'm doing wrong so that I can improve that. And that is definitely a critical part of performance evaluation. But it's equally critical to evaluate what we're doing well, because that's an important part of our learning. We have to learn from our successes. If we don't learn from our successes, then our learning will be much less effective. Not to mention our confidence will grow much less effectively if we're not reflecting on what we're doing well. So remember to include both what you're doing well and what you can do to improve. And that leads to the second part, which is when you focus on things that you didn't do so well at, make sure you progress forward into productive action. And so instead of just thinking about, I did this bad or I did this wrong, which may be true, make sure that you move forward into, I will blank as I move forward in order to do better. So instead of just, oh, I planted my foot too far from the ball, think about, next time I will plant my foot X distance from the ball. Or instead of, oh, I said something really awkward on this date, next time just think, I will say X, Y, or Z in order to carry the conversation forward. Think about what you will do. Okay, number 5 is seek feedback from other people. This is also so important because our view of ourselves and our own performance is limited. It's very hard to know how we're performing when the only perspective is our own, because we can be blinded to things that we just can't see on our own. So this takes humility, this takes courage. It's challenging sometimes to put ourselves out there and ask somebody else to critically evaluate us, but it's necessary. If you want to reach your highest possible levels in the things that you do, we have to be humble, we have to be courageous, and seek feedback. And you'll find that as you do that, the insights that you gain will be incredible. You will not be able to gain them in any other way. And you'll be able to then apply those insights to do so much better moving forward. So don't fail to seek feedback. Be humble, be courageous, and seek it, and you will not regret it. Finally, tip number 6 is be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself and with the process. A lot of times we beat ourselves up when we don't improve at something right away, or when we don't gain mastery right away. But that is an unrealistic and unhealthy way of viewing the process of skill development and improvement. And all it does is put us in this trap of frustration and discouragement. So yes, it's so important to believe in yourself, to believe that you can develop skills and master skills and become incredible at something, but it's also critically important to have compassion for yourself and be realistic about the process. And the process truly is a time-intensive process. That's the nature of human development and human improvement. It takes time. It takes repetitive practice. So please be patient with yourself. And you'll find that as you're patient with yourself, you will actually improve faster and more effectively when you give yourself space to make mistakes, because you won't be impeded by frustration and stress and anxiety that comes from this perfectionism and holding yourself to too high of a standard. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening today. I really appreciate it. Please make sure to reach out, connect with me on Instagram and other social media. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe so that you can stay updated on this content. And please share this video or this podcast, depending on how you're consuming this. Share it with 3 friends so that they can benefit from it too. Thank you all so much, and let's be high performing today.